Folks, I have bad news. I have been copy-striked. That's right, as of the recording of this video, my channel, Quentin Re2s, has a copyright strike. For those of you who aren't in the loop about this, if I get 3 strikes on my channel, then my channel will be deleted, and in fact, according to the wording here, it's possible that every channel associated with my brand would be deleted if any of them got 3 strikes. I decided to go through this part of the process publicly and to discuss what's happening, partially because it's really good clickbait, but also because I've recently noticed that newer YouTubers who have started since the pandemic, let's say, tend to be a lot less informed about the YouTube copyright system than YouTubers who were around like 6 or 7 years ago. And I feel like there's a lot of ignorance about how the YouTube copyright system works, and I thought talking about it in a video would be a good way to diffuse that. The most alarming thing I've noticed, I think, is that there is an overwhelming haziness about the difference between a copyright claim and a copyright strike, and how you get a copyright strike from a copyright claim. A lot of YouTubers I talk to seem to believe that if they dispute any copyright claim and it gets rejected, they automatically get a copyright strike, and they just don't know the difference between those two things and how they end up happening. So I'm going to explain this off the cuff as clearly as I can, because what I want people to understand is this system is designed to look scary, it's designed to look frightening, but at the end of the day, you can win through this system. You just have to be patient, and you have to know what to say and what to do. And I'm mainly talking about disputing things through the argument of fair use. So I can't help you if you're uploading like an entire movie with a hazy filter. Also, I just want to say before we get into this, you would not be able to guess what I got a copyright strike for. It's a very random, small thing. A very, very tiny thing I did in a video. And honestly, I could have gone in and clipped it out after the claimant did all this BS. But I didn't, because I believe in myself. I believe that I should be treated decently. And I'm willing to put people on blast for being jerks. So let's say you're a YouTuber, you upload a video, either it's unlisted or it's public, whatever, and then you get a copyright claim. That copyright claim might be an automatic thing from YouTube scanning your content for copyrighted media, or it might be a manual claim where somebody saw your video and then filed a takedown based on them just saying, oh, hey, there's a 1-second clip of my podcast in there, or whatever. So you have a copyright claim. There are basically 3 different tiers, 3 different levels to the responses you might have to give to that copyright claim, and they all pretty much eventually lead to you winning. It's just that it's not a nice process. The lowest tier, or step 1 sometimes, is called a dispute. You dispute the copyright claim, and this is where you go in and you basically write a little paragraph explaining why you shouldn't have the copyright claim, and then you submit it, and the person who sent you that copyright claim, they have 30 days to respond. And if they don't respond in 30 days, then the copyright claim just gets released. The annoying thing you'll find is that a lot of groups out there are fully aware of this system, and they will basically see that the dispute is there, and they'll say, okay, I will respond to that 1 hour before the 30-day mark. Luckily, YouTube has done us a bit of a favor in trying to help us deal with bad faith actors in this system when it comes to the YouTube appeal. An appeal is basically like a super dispute. It was originally what you did after your dispute was rejected initially, and it used to be that when you sent in your appeal, you had to wait another 30 days before it got released again. But recently, YouTube has made 2 really cool changes to the system. The first is that any appeal you send in now, it will expire after 7 days. So in theory, that turns the process from 60 days to 37 days, and that's extremely helpful in my opinion. The second thing they've done is that in some circumstances, and I honestly don't immediately know what the circumstances are, you can actually file an appeal right off the bat. And this is called escalating to appeal. And that means that a system which used to be able to be stretched out to 60 days can now be handled and dealt with in 7 days in some circumstances. And from my experience, YouTube usually lets you do this if, let's say, someone has sent you a copyright claim where they've blocked the video or something like that. So sometimes I'll have, smaller YouTubers talk to me and they'll say, I have to re-edit my video because I got a copyright claim. And I say to them, well, have you sent in, a copyright dispute or tried to escalate to appeal? And sometimes they say back to me, well, I'm scared of getting a strike. And I say nothing that we've talked about so far can lead to you getting a strike. And also, you would be shocked how many good faith actors there are in the copyright space. How many people there are who work for companies, go through all these disputes and appeals, and sometimes within 2 or 3 days, you might have a copyright claim just released by a kind of cool dude who looks at your thing and goes, oh yeah, you're talking about the history of spy movies, and you show a 1-second clip of James Bond. That's fair use. So it's not necessarily as evil an ecosystem as you would probably expect. So it's important that when you get a copyright claim, you try and dispute/appeal it, because, you might not have to re-edit your video or anything at all. But sometimes you might end up dealing with someone who's extremely, extremely annoying and petty. And that person's going to say, hey, not only have I rejected your dispute, now that you've sent in an appeal, I'm going to reject that too. So what happens after your appeal is rejected? Well, here's where they try and make things look scary. And in fact, this is what has happened to me today. And the first thing that happens after that is YouTube basically tells you, hey, the copyright holder told us that their copyright claim was legitimate. So in a few days, this video will be taken down and you will get a copyright strike. And in my opinion, YouTube, in kind of bad faith, tries to make this part of the process look scary and tries to make you believe that your only option is to just throw your hands up and go, oh, okay, I'll do whatever you want. So I'm recording this bit after I've been told the video is going to be taken down, but before it's actually been taken down, because I want to show you something. Right here, you see the actual dispute, and it says appeal rejected, pending strike due to scheduled removal. So naturally, when this happens to you for the first time, it freaks you out, because every YouTuber is freaked out by the idea of a strike to their channel. So naturally, what do? You say, oh, I'll take action. And YouTube gives you 2 options. You can cancel your appeal, meaning you let the other side win, or you can delete the video. Now, I think this is heavily disingenuous that YouTube actually shows you this screen and tells you these are your 2 options, because in actuality, there is a third option, and that is the option that I'm going to be choosing, which is that I am going to allow them to give me a copyright strike. So once you've appealed a copyright strike, once you've appealed it, you enter the third tier of challenging a copyright claim, which is basically YouTube goes to this copyright person and in most cases they go, hey, the only way you can continue this battle is if you take it to court. Is if you take this to some sort of legal entity. So we will only continue to take this video down if you submit proof that you are filing things in court, that this person has been served, that you are suing this person. And I know that that itself carries some weight to it. A lot of small YouTubers think that anybody in the world would sue them for any reason. But what you got to keep in mind is that in almost every single case, the people who have sent you a copyright claim, they do not want to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, going after you, knowing that it will be extremely bad press for them. So they'd be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a person that isn't actually making a significant amount of money, certainly not the amount of money they're spending on the battle. And what are they getting for spending all that money? They're getting a lot of bad press. So most companies won't do that, and most people won't do that. And that's why usually if you hear about like things like this going to court, it's because it's some idiot who's just a random asshole who decides to try and go through the whole process because he's just a jerk. So basically, this part of the process is designed to look really scary, to really freak you out, to make you not want to follow through and challenge the copyright strike. Now, I'm going to show you guys today me going through and actually making my challenge of this. But to even gain any access to any of my channels, I have to go through copyright school. I'm getting the weirdest sense of deja vu.
Everybody's really been looking forward to the new video from Lumpy and the Lumpettes. Even Lumpy.
Fuck you, Lumpy.
Russell's a huge fan.
Russell, what a stupid name. These characters just piss me off so much. Just every time I feel more and more enraged looking at them. I wish there was a way I could see all of these awful characters that I hate being exposed to extreme violence and gore. But obviously that's just a pipe dream.
You didn't create that video, you just copied someone else's content. Uploading someone else's content without permission could get you into a lot of trouble. It may be copyright infringement.
Oh no! Anyways, I'm not actually gonna watch this all the way through. Okay, we have finished copyright school because I fast forwarded to the end. Yay! Okay, let's try and answer these questions. Creating 100% original new content for YouTube will help protect you against claims of copyright infringement. True. The following items may be protected by copyright. All of the above. If someone alleges you have infringed their copyright and you are certain that this is not the case, you may file a counter, re-upload the video, delete the video, file a counter notification, download the video. If someone alleges you have infringed their copyright and you are certain that this is not the case, you may file a counter notification. I don't think that's what it's called, YouTube. I've never heard someone call it a counter notification. Counter notification. If that's what it's called, YouTube, I'll trust you because none of these other ones make sense. Fair use is a legal defense that applies in all countries. False, I think, because I feel like the UK doesn't have a lot of precedent with fair use. Correct. All right, great. Yay, I have my YouTube back, and look, I have a copyright strike. Yay! Oh man. So, do you guys want to see why I got the copyright strike? So the video that was taken down was actually a recent compilation I did of a bunch of old episodes of Fallen Titans. But because I put together this big compilation of a bunch of videos, naturally I got a bunch of copyright claims that I originally received when I uploaded those videos. And the specific copyright claim that caused this video to be taken down was badgers. Obviously, I won't be showing you what that is here, but it's this old animation of like a bunch of badgers teleporting in, and it goes, oh, badgers, 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 mushroom, mushroom, and then it just loops. So, yeah, that's what my takedown is about. Now, from a certain point of view, I could see someone arguing that they understand why the person who owns this would send a takedown over me showing that, because I did technically show the entire thing, but on the other side of things, they own a GIF, and I was talking about the history of viral short-form internet content. If you're doing a video talking about the history of GIFs, you're going to have to show some GIFs in full. You know, so the idea that any use of fair use has to be a minimalist use of the copyright content, I don't think that comes into play when the copyright content is 5 seconds long. Well, it does come into play, but I just think it's a ridiculous argument to make. Yeah, when I'm talking about the history of the Badgers, mushroom video, I might have to play the entirety of the Badgers, mushroom video. But this is pretty absurd that I now have a copy strike on my channel, a copyright strike on my channel, because whoever owns this is just being pricks about this. So I'm going to say, take action. All right, I could contact them by email, not going to do that, or I could submit a counter notification. Yay! I understand the implications of filing a counter notification. Okay, so here is the gist. We put all this information in. I'm going to do that, and I will decide if I will dox myself while editing this. All right, and so now that we're filing an appeal against the copyright strike, it is basically the same as when we originally did the copyright dispute. So we have a little thing here. We can write a paragraph about why I shouldn't have a copyright strike. Now, back in the day when I was younger, I used to write out specific appeals for each and every case, but I eventually realized the system doesn't care. It's not going to make a difference if you actually write out specifics of everything about your use. So I got lazy at some point and I made a copy and paste thing that the form wants you to put in. This is basically my best imitation of the exact thing the form wants to hear. And I'm not lying in any of these cases. And so I'm just going to copy here and paste my little paragraph here. And I wrote that in 2016. If it has grammar issues, my bad. And then we click submit. And you see it says right here, if they don't provide proof of a court action against you, your video will be reinstated. So again, like I said, it's basically YouTube saying, hey, the creator wins unless they get sued. In most cases, you're not going to get sued. I know you think you might, but I guarantee you, unless you've literally stolen a movie and you've made $100,000 off of it, probably not. I will say that there's only ever been one situation where I got to see the process past this point. Because I don't know what it's like on the other side. But there is one situation where I sent in, let's say, a counter notification on a copyright strike. And the person rejected it. And I had to then appeal that rejection. So that was the only time I went further into the process than this. And I will tell you exactly when that was, because it was a jerk just lying to YouTube. Do you guys remember the Rankin Bass video where I review a bunch of really weird and obscure Rankin Bass films that have never had official releases? And the only way I could figure out how to get copies of all those was to buy this weird bootleg DVD off of Etsy. Well, and you'll remember in the video, I actually plugged the guy who runs the Etsy page where I got all this stuff. Well, he sent a copyright takedown on that video, claiming that he had been given express permission to be the only person in the world who could distribute copies of those TV specials. Doubt, heavy doubt. I very much doubt. I'm sure that someone told him, yeah, we don't really care if you do this, because we're not really touching any of these. But I don't think anyone told him, you are the only person who is allowed to get away with releasing copies of these. I don't believe that. But anyway, so he filed a copyright takedown. And then, of course, I filed a dispute, then an appeal, then I got a copyright strike, and then I appealed the copyright strike. And during that process, I found out that in the kind of online animation space, it's widely known that this guy is an asshole. He's apparently a Trump, America First dude. He just posts rants all day. Someone told me he gatekeeps stuff. There's some stuff he has that he's just I think I'm the only fan good enough to see this. I don't know if that's true. But what I think happened at this point is that YouTube said, hey, we will only keep this video taken down if you submit proof that you are taking action in court. And he probably sent back some fucking whiny fucking pussy ass oh no, this is only I should be able to use it. Without actually submitting evidence, and because it's an automated process, YouTube assumed that he had sent them evidence that he was suing me. And then I had to appeal again to say, hey, I just want you to know, because the thing came up that basically said, according to him, he's suing you, which was always a weird message to get when you're not being sued. And so then I had to file an appeal saying, hey, can you get a human to look at this? Because I'm not being sued. This is not how the process is supposed to work. And then YouTube came in and they released it. So long story short is that guy's an asshole, and I take back any endorsement of his dumb bootleg Etsy shop. And also screw the people who own the rights for the Badgers cartoon, because now they've given me a copyright strike. Sometime in the next few weeks, either this video will come back online and I won't have a copyright strike anymore, or I will be getting sued by the Badgers mushroom cartoon people.